Natsuki Subaru. Immediately gets transported into a new world. Wow, this place is great. Subaru immediately gets TP'd and out of nowhere, is he not gonna question that? He just gets sent to a different world, and apparently it's a country based off Great Britain, because he's just about to get shanked in an alleyway. But thankfully, Worst Girl saves his punk ass and they go looking for her badge at a house. And oh shit, oh crap, it's the first episode and the MC has already died. That's the special thing about this show. Essentially, the point of ReZero is that Subaru will redo the last checkpoint in time that he has set, and even though some people would consider him having a reset on death loop ability is bad because it quote-unquote removes all tension, well, no, you idiot, this greatly increases tension in an interesting way. As Subaru could set a new checkpoint unknowingly and someone dies and or can't be saved through dying because everyone and even Subaru knows he wasn't picked because he was smart, charming, talented or strong. He just randomly got selected and has involved himself in these people's problems. Other characters that are introduced are Amelia, who only does one useful thing in the entire season 1, and that is introduce Subaru to other people who will be infinitely more useful to him than she ever could. Ram, she's just a worse Rem, and Rem is just a worse Amelia, and Amelia is just a worse Ram. There's Beatrice, who's just a librarian child. Roswell, the mega daddy who's quite absent in season 1 and then the most important character in season 2, and that's all we need to know. Now what? Yeah, that's the first problem with ReZero. It has no set goal. Other isekais, for example, like SAO, where Kirito tries soloing all 100 floors, No Game No Life, where Sora and Shiro want to become headmasters and then overrule other headmasters, and Konosuba, where the goal is to not die. But in ReZero, Subaru doesn't really have a goal. He just follows out the characters and helps them with their quests. So it's just random adventures, which doesn't work as well for this anime because it wants to be more focused on its story and introduce random villains that we aren't even sure if we should care about. But I will say there are cool villains. There's only really 3. Alto was the first real antagonist, and Mommy, yes. She was just a villain that started the series off with Subaru's death loop ability and left after that. Next was the White Whale, which is about 10 episodes after and honestly is a quite cool villain when it was introduced because a massive whale is scary as fuck. I'm not including Ram because she's best girl and that would also mean I have to include the cat. And the last villain for season 1 is Beetlejuice, Betelgeuse. He's the first bishop we meet, and we meet more bishops in the future. Bishops are essentially pawns of the witches, who are essentially some of the most strongest magic users, and every bishop is based off a sin, such as greed, sloth, lust, gluttony, and whatnot. Why didn't I mention this earlier? It's because we only revisit most of this info in season 2. ReZero season 1 is genuinely such a slow burn that every single problem is fixed in season 2, which honestly would be the only reason I recommend this anime to anyone, because there are far too many dislikable flaws in season 1, but watching season 2 makes everything so much better. I'm not gonna explain it here, so go screw yourself. The music in this show is genuinely amazing. Either it be the background music, endings, openings, I genuinely don't think any is below A tier, and probably all above A plus tier. The animation isn't amazing, but it does its job, especially by the more gory scenes, and I appreciate it for that. Not every anime needs to be made by Mappa for it to look good, okay? The strongest points Season 1 has are its characters, so before I give it its rating, let's talk about them. Here are a list of all these characters. Wow, these guys are great. Subaru in Season 1 felt like a tick that for some reason wouldn't die once I killed myself because he made me feel so ashamed to be a man in 2018, as he portrayed some of the most basic bitchery and simpery a man could uphold. It's not that it wasn't realistic, because after dying so many times and feeling like you're getting nowhere, you'd want to take the cheap way out and throw yourself out there. Doesn't mean I gotta like him for it. There's Amelia, and honestly, she doesn't do anything until Season 2 Part 2. There's literally nothing she does, and sometimes she's even more of a tick than Subaru. Ram, well, she's just a mean girl who's flat plus L plus ratio plus fatherless. Rem is the only reason I kept watching, as she was a beaming ray of hope who made my heart sink and my eyes water, as she never faltered in the way of true care. Beatrice is just worse Ram. Roswell also does nothing, but mostly because he's not on screen. Don't forget, he's very important. And finally, there's the side characters who actually can be quite likable, like Otto, Puck, Beetlejuice, Ferris, and others. They, for the most part, aren't really likable, but you win some, you lose some. Is this a show I would recommend? Only if you binge it until Season 2. I would highly recommend watching the entire series, because that would 100% earn your respect. 8.9 out of 10 if you get to Season 2. I'm tired, you can leave.